Hey everyone, it's Amanda from 2918 Miles. So we finished our walk on July 23rd, 2018, and it was amazing. It was an incredible Monday, great way to start the week. And we are trying to life again. We're trying to figure out what to do. We started the walk, got rid of everything, and expected to end the walk and be like, okay, cool, let's create a whole new life. You know, me and Colton, and really exciting, and thought it would be amazing. And it has been really, really challenging. And I think part of that has been because we got rid of most of our stuff and weren't expecting to come home with a third human. We are learning a lot about parenting and a lot about responsibility right now, which is incredible. And difficult at the same time, which I know all of you parents definitely know about. So, anyway, I wanted to share with you guys the reason why we chose the foundations. So, to start off, Make a Wish Foundation, we worked with the branch that's in Oregon. They were incredible. We loved them. We actually still have our fundraiser page up. We need to work out some way to close that out after everybody's gotten a chance to contribute if they'd like to. So we chose Make a Wish because they stand for something amazing. We had an incredible friend of ours say, "Hey, check them out, please!" And we'd known about Make-A-Wish, but we didn't know about Make-A-Wish until we got in contact with them and found out that the intention behind the organization was to instill hope in those little ones so they'd fight harder for their lives, which Colton and I are 100% about. Both of us have career paths that support creating hope to keep fighting forward and keep striving forward to create the life that you want. So we both love that a bunch. And then as for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which was the other foundation, we could never have known how extremely important they were across the nation. We got to speak at a couple of different assemblies in Idaho for suicide prevention, which huge shout out to those guys. Thank you so much for letting us come. It was our pleasure. We really, really enjoyed that and the opportunity we had to see some of the statistics that were posted during the assemblies, just about the way that suicide is across the United States. And what we found is that those statistics were very real. There is so many people struggling, so many families, so many individuals, people that have lost loved ones, people that are struggling right now with suicide. And we couldn't have known until we were walking and having a lot of people. Thank you if you're one of those people that were vulnerable enough to share either your loss or the fact that you were struggling yourself. That meant so much to us to hear over and over again that what we were doing was the right thing. So the reason I chose suicide prevention, this is a story that I shared at the assemblies. I know a girl that struggled really, really deeply with suicide. She, several years ago, was struggling so bad. She had a job, she had her own apartment. You think, okay, she's doing pretty good, had her own car, own apartment, good job. And she just felt like she wasn't happy, she wasn't connected. And after a particularly rough weekend, she chose to attempt suicide. She did make it. She's fine. She was fine. And she went and reached out to her friends and her family, seeking support and help. And there was a lot of concern, but not really much known about what to do, other than, possibly attempting to hospitalize her, which she chose not to do. And then, anyway, so she sought support, tried to get help. Things kind of got better. She saw some improvements, and then noticed herself kind of in similar patterns a little while later. So she chose to really, really start looking for help because she had seen what she was capable of, and that scared her. So she decided to look further into other possible solutions. Discovered some Eastern medicine that she really, really fell in love with, If you guys have ever heard of Body Code, I highly recommend checking it out. Um, anyway, so she started getting support from a Body Code practitioner, and for the first time in many years, she was 23, 24, let's see, 24 at the time, and was really struggling. Um, Hi, Bobby. Is he okay? Oh, that's my sweet one. I better wrap this up. So, um, anyway, so she got support that way, started seeing improvements, really felt so good, was excited about life. Things were starting to kind of come together. She was feeling a little bit more connected. And then out of nowhere, there was a loss in her life. She lost a friend of hers to cancer, and it kind of shook her whole world. She didn't know what to do. She kind of reached out to some of those, connections that she thought she was reestablishing, and really didn't find the support that she had been hoping for. And so she made a very rash decision to move across the world to another country, and planned to leave in 6 weeks. So I gave her a very short window of time to figure out, everything. And she did. And during the process of those 6 weeks, she just felt more and more disconnected from her space and her place. And as she got rid of things and tried to connect with people before she left, she just felt so alone and isolated. And right at the beginning of this decision to leave, she'd connected with a gentleman she had spent a little bit of time with before, and he'd been a nice friend. They'd, had group camping things they'd done and different things like that, where she just felt like, oh, he's kind of a lighthearted person. Maybe I'll spend some time with him before I leave, just to keep me distracted enough to keep myself in the process of leaving. And so she did. She kept, spending time with this gentleman. And she found herself one night after a particularly hard day at work going, well, they don't need me. My family doesn't need me. My life doesn't need me. What's the point of being here if nobody needs me? And she had another attempt. And this gentleman that she'd been spending time with, that had been helping her with things like cleaning her car to sell it, had figured out that she had an attempt, and he'd been out of town, but he made an effort to get back right away to make sure that she was okay. And she was, and they spent a little bit of time together, and she had a good experience, just feeling like she was connecting with somebody just enough to kind of lift her spirits before finally leaving to China, which is where she moved to. So she moved across the world to China. She spent a couple weeks there, and it was supposed to be this amazing adventure. It was supposed to be so life-transforming, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. She ran into wall after wall after wall, and she didn't feel like that China was bringing out the kind of person that she wanted to be, and she was struggling really hard. And after a very ridiculous night, getting lost in China for hours, she finally got herself home and decided to attempt for a third time. So she had a third attempt on her life, and you think by this point, maybe she would be successful. After waking up, she basically just said, you know what, okay, there's some reason I'm here, like, help me figure out why the heck I'm here, because obviously I'm not supposed to leave yet. And it was in that moment that she realized that even though she was receiving a lot of improvements from the healing that she'd been doing, she had not been filling her heart and her mind back up with good. She had been scooping out a lot of junk. She'd had a really interesting, like, little childhood, and different controversies and stuff as a teenager, as all of us do, and hadn't handled them well. And so there's a lot to scoop out, but when you're scooping out a whole bunch of junk and you're not filling it up with anything positive, you're still listening to super depressing songs or really like crappy movies or whatever, and you're not actually filling it up with anything good, you don't actually feel better. You're just like staying in that emotion of depression or isolation or whatever, because you're continuing to do the same things. And she didn't realize that until that moment. And it was in that moment she decided, okay, it's not best for me to be working through this in another country with all new people, with totally new customs, new food, new water. I'm going to go home. So she went home. She'd stayed connected with this gentleman for the couple of weeks that she'd been gone. And they really seriously started dating after she got back. And after making those changes, that girl shifted so much. She still runs into times where she goes, I just don't know if I can do it today. But then she remembers all of these experiences, and she remembers all the stories of all of the people that shared with her as she walked across the United States, of their struggles. And she kept saying, I found a way. It's possible to get past this. I never could have known back in China 2 years ago that I would come back from China and that I would fall even further in love with my best friend, and that we would choose to walk across America for something that I struggled with. And then along the way, we would find out that we were expecting a baby. A first for both of us. And then in Idaho, I couldn't have known that I was going to have a beautiful baby boy. And I couldn't have known that he would make it here safe until he did. And now he's almost 4 months old, and he's perfect, and he's trying to walk, and he's rolling over, and he coos like crazy. And if I had told that girl in China, if I had anybody tell me while I was in China that all of that was going to happen, I would have thought they were crazy. I wanted to walk for suicide prevention because I want people to know there's a way. There's a way to overcome it. A big part of that way is filling yourself up with all the things in the world that are good. Good music. Really listen to the lyrics you're putting in your head. If I told you, if I said, every word you listen to, every movie you watch will happen, would you watch it? Would you listen to it? I have filled up my life more with that good. And the truth is, I still struggle. Now that we're back from the walk, I'm trying to figure out makeup again. I'm trying to figure out my hair again. I got rid of all my clothes before, so I'm trying to figure out my wardrobe. I have the pressure of like providing for our little one. We're trying to keep up on bills and things like that. I'm starting all of it over, looking for a place to live. We just bought a car, like $10, best $10 we ever spent. Yes, I'm serious. Yes, it runs. Thank you. And it just, life is not always perfect. It's not always easy, but you don't know what could come next. Right now is really hard for us. We're having a hard time. Colton and I are trying to reconnect, and we're still in other people's spaces. We're trying to figure out how to parent for this amazing little boy who, we're still trying to have the resources to provide for. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but we don't know what it'll be like in a month or 5 months or 2 years. If you told me 2 years ago all of this would have happened, I wouldn't have believed you. So we walked for suicide prevention because I struggled with it. We walked for it because I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to exist. And I keep moving forward every day now because I want to be a beacon for all of you that are struggling and say, I struggled and I am finding my own path away from it now. I feel very strong, very healthy. I feel like it isn't an issue, but I'd be lying if I said I don't sometimes have those thoughts. So I encourage you to fill your life up with good. Keep track of all of the good that is in your life, and know that you don't know what's coming, and you don't know what you could be living for that's 2 years away, or sooner. Maybe it's only a month around the corner, or a few months. And the miracles that I saw across the United States, I pray that I always remember, so they always carry me forward. Look for the miracles in your life, and know that Colton and I really love and appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Thank you for helping us make it safely across the United States, to share our message and to speak up and to be a witness to all those that are struggling, so I can know how important it is that we were out there and that there are people doing work on behalf of those struggling. We love you bunches. I'm going to go keep figuring out life. Know that you're loved. Know that you're valued. Know that you're valuable. And know that your value will come from within you and not from without. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of our journey. We'd love to keep you guys in the loop. We're not sure exactly how to do that yet, but we love you guys bunches. If you'd like to continue following our family on whatever crazy adventure we decide to go on next, we hope it's a good one and that it's a lot of fun for you guys. And more than anything, we hope that we can continue to share lessons along the way. Love you bunches. Thank you. Thank you.